This thing is insisting on. Okay, hello everybody. Internet is doing me strong thing because I was like, why is he insisting on showing this poster? Anyways, hello people. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you have had a really good day. Today has been a tough day, and I'm sure you noticed that we weren't on last week. We had to take a break because for many of us our timetables have changed. So me, normally my Tuesdays I only had one thing to do, and then I came in the evening to do the show. But now I have three things. I can't even talk well. I have three things that I have to do during the day before I actually now make it down to the house. So by the time I know me and my exhaustion issues. So by the time I get home, I'm so exhausted, and and then we have to jump straight into the show. So Ron had the same issue. So Ron and I were like, you know what, guys, for the first time in about 70 shows, or more, over a year now, we are going to say we're taking a break. So please don't be offended that you didn't see us, but we are human beings. We didn't want to faint. You understand? And Ron will be joining us very soon. He'll be, you know, joining us. Again, as I said, our timetables have changed. So just running around trying to make sure that things get sorted out. So please, if you haven't joined us, because I'm seeing, am I that boring? Nobody wants to watch. What's doing you people? Come and join and watch us now. I know we are live, oh, so please come and join us. So we're going to be talking about a topic today that is quite close to my heart. And I've never hidden anything about it, but I don't think I've actually spoken in depth about the power of events, and what it can do to a person. But I feel that with the way things are going on in society, hmm, it's time we have this conversation. So I don't know what's going on out there. I'm just trying to check to see. Can't see anybody joining in. I don't know what's going on. Am I live? Let me check because I'm not sure if I'm live now. Because this is the first time I've actually done this and not a single person is watching. This one is strange, oh, it's a strange feeling. Let me just check and make sure that I'm actually online and not talking to myself. And if anybody is online and they can just give me a holler to say, hey, you're not on your own, that would be nice. because I have a feeling that maybe this isn't going out live. I'm just Joyce. My phone is not letting me connect to Facebook. I don't know what's going on. See what allow. Just trying to check. And if I'm live, then we'll just continue as normal. Okay. So it does say that I'm live. Okay. So it does say that I'm live. So at least that one is sorted out. I know that I'm live. Nobody just wants to come and watch, but it's okay. But anyways, let's talk about the day. Like the timetable has changed. I put something out on Instagram some time ago. I think yesterday. I'm not too sure. I'm telling you, that's how tired I am. I'm struggling between time frame, you know. Um, but like normally last term I had lectures just Wednesdays and Fridays. So 2 days a week. And my because I'm in two schools, so my school too was a Monday night and a Friday night. So it was very nicely, spread out. Everything was okay. But now it's Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. And then my other school is Wednesday nights, Friday nights. So, and it's not like one subject and then you go home. It's like several subjects during the day. So I'm like, who sent me message? So it's been a bit of a toughie, just like moving around and everything. I'm wondering where the rest of the Mongolo crew are because I don't want to start talking about this on my own without, having this conversation, because if I'm talking about myself then it's a monologue. It's not a conversation. So I'm just sending a text. Where are you guys? Someone is asking me what time. The time is on the post. I'm there now. We are only human. Oh. So all the people asking me when, even though I put time on the thing and I said, please, oh, two people have joined. Praise the Lord. Hallelujah. So it was weird to be talking and it said zero people looking. It was a very fearful something. Ron, I don't know whether Ron is now with us or he's still sorting his stuff out, but that's okay. So, anyways, today's topic, hey, it's now easy to come and talk. It has reduced. Anyways, today's topic is about child abuse, and I know it's a heavy topic. And some people will be like, I don't want to see this, I don't want to have to deal with this, and all of that. And I get it, but we can't hide our heads in the sand.
Abby,
Hey, I play.
give me like 20 minutes. Just let me round up. 20 minutes.
What are you eating? I see oil on your lips.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
20
yeah, go,
minutes.
go. No problem, go. Me, I did it though. I be talking. So, anyways, for a lot of people, it's like, oh, we don't want to deal with this, but sticking our heads in the sand and hoping that the problem will go away is obviously not working. It is not working. Our reluctance to be involved, our reluctance to address issues is actually hurting our children, is actually causing a lot of damage to our children. I was on Princess the comedian's Instagram live yesterday, and a woman came on who worked in a like orphanage, like a children's home, and this woman had to leave because of burnout. Like she couldn't cope with the stress of dealing with these cases in and out, year upon year, and it didn't look like it was getting any better. This woman said if she goes to court with 20 cases in a day, 18 of them will be about child molestation. I don't know who is silently watching or who has logged in to watch, but I want those figures to sink in a bit. This is somebody who was in the system. She was a social worker in the system in Nigeria. And she said, as of 2017, when she took 20 cases to court, like she would go to court to go and speak on behalf of people, to go and represent, to go and do, 18 out of 20 were on child molestation. That is as of 2017. Only God knows what the stats are now. And a lot of people will be like, "Oh, I don't want to talk about it." Maybe because they also have their own painful stories, or they just don't want to. Some people are like, I don't want to invite that darkness into my life. But the people that it happens to, did they go and invite the darkness? Did they write a letter to the darkness and say, come and visit me? Because what we are failing to understand is that it's not people on the outside, it's not outsiders who are hurting these children. It's people they know. Most of the time it is people that they know, people that are actually friends of the family, friends of the teachers, classmates. It could be their friend that they go and play in their house, and the kid has been, the one that they play with has been seeing something, and suddenly wants to now see if you can try it with your kid. It could be uncle across the street. It could be that family friend that you guys all love and respect. Because the crazy thing is that they show for face. They don't write "I'm a molester" on the head. It's not written. So you cannot say, "Oh, I know this person," they will never do it, because as we have seen and we have heard, the most crazy cases come out, like, ha, this person, with everything you have, you're married to a beautiful woman, you have beautiful children of your own, you have a great job, there's money in your account, your life is comfortable. So it's not as if there was something that they are lacking, no. But that darkness inside of them looks for who to infect. So we can't keep pretending that, oh, it's got nothing to do with us because our kids are safe. If this thing runs on check, do you know where your kid is going to go? That they will not be safe. And these molesters, when they start, they don't stop. Oh, they continue until they are caught. They might be caught in present time, in real time, so that they can be stopped. Or like some people like Jimmy Savile, who it was after he died, he had even gotten medal. Everybody had celebrated him. He had a wonderful funeral done. Everybody was like, "Oh, this guy is amazing." Only for the stories to start coming out, to now find out that there was actually a cover up campaign. Like where he worked with the BBC. They knew that he was a molester. They knew that there was something not right. But instead of stopping and exposing him, they were covering it. And there are many organizations like that. That if we're going to expose this guy, people will now know that he works with us. So we will cover him instead of exposing him and making sure that he gets his just desserts. So pretending that it's got nothing to do with us is no longer going to be feasible because, hmm, as they say, now the person wey touch, now he know. And if he faces you today, it will back you tomorrow.
Oh,
So
yeah,
let
still in
us.
my mouth.
Oh, I see. Your mouth was shiny. Your mouth
Ah,
was doing ororo. What did you eat?
what did they call her?
You don't say it and you're
Lamb,
supposed what you eat.
grilled lamb.
Grilled lamb with what? Potatoes.
No, no, no. I don't use potatoes. I use veggies.
Oh, so grilled lamb and veggies. That's it.
That's cauliflower,
Broccoli.
cabbage. Yeah, of course they'll chop it now.
And was there sauce?
No, no, that was spoiled. I tried to eat what they call it. What they call that diet where it's just meat
Keto.
and veggies. Keto, yeah.
Keto.
Mm.
So no sauce.
No, no,
Hey, I go die. No sauce.
no, no, no.
This
It's
is
how
why
you.
we never be able to do keto. I can't do diets. I've never done diet and I will never do
No,
diet.
keto is actually safe. Oh.
I'm not saying it's not safe. I said me, I cannot do diets. Ah,
Ah,
me that I like when I'm eating my mash with my fish. I like sauce to I like my mash to be swimming in the sauce of love.
you
You
can't
know?
keep doing that every time. Now, at some point, you'll be like, let me respect myself.
Eh, I'm respecting myself. It doesn't affect me. I eat
Mm,
and it is nice. Me, like now, I don't like sauce in rice. That's a weird thing. I like sauce in potatoes, in mash, and I usually use boiled potatoes or mash, and I love
okay,
sauce. But
okay.
rice, mba, I don't like sauce in rice. I just take the meat or the fish and use the sauce on that and eat the rice. That's why I think that people who put stew on jollof rice have trust issues.
If you are serving me jollof and I see, or even fried rice, and I see that the red is not red enough, I won't say anything. I'll collect it and go and put stew on top.
You see, trust issues. Trust
Hmm.
issues. It's trust issues. How can
Wait,
you
so
gonna be?
where's everybody? Didn't we get
I don't. The thing, Shebi, you're even seeing two. When I started, it was zero.
ah?
The thing, the
Wait,
thing shocked me back.
because they are still going to come back and tell me that they didn't get anything from you.
No, I will not find it funny. I will not find it funny if anybody comes and tells me that they did not get, because I've even gone around saying, please, please, please make sure you come to the show. I don't want to hear story.
Where
Hey,
is
Tony day. You like sauce too, yes, so put
who is
correct
that?
sauce. My friend, she's in the States, she's an artist, she's a
Oh,
musician,
okay.
fantastic voice.
Oh,
You know, hey God, I mean, I love fish, especially when those big, big, fat prawns like this inside sauce. They put it on top of mash.
good one. Okay, so we were talking about something very serious.
I know. I'm trying to lighten it up because I'm trying to calm my spirit down. So
No,
that's why I've gone to my
okay,
favorite thing to eat is food.
I didn't plan to calm it down. In fact, my plan today was to play a moody background music while talking about it. I said, no, 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 no.
Ha.
Let, let
That,
me leave
that
it.
that is like you're making fun of the situation. No, don't do that.
No, I said a moody background tune, like a tune to, those
You
tunes
don't
they play when something tragic happens.
I oh impossible.
There are
Is it
tunes that they're designed to draw tears.
okay. Oh, I don't really want to cry because you know I
Because
believe that
I listened to part of what you said, and here's the thing. These people, I keep saying these things over and over again. There are a lot of insane people released into the society.
I'm telling you.
And And the reason why these ones are happening and going away scot free is that when you open the gate for some people that are not supposed to come out, and they come out because you're trying to be politically correct, you end up creating chaos. There are some things I can't say on this live because they are not politically correct and they are not right to say it now. But I believe that as we advance as human beings, things will come full circle and we'll sit down, look ourselves in the eye and say, listen, I think we've messed up. We really need to go back to the basics. There are a lot of things going on. And I remember when I ventured into the dark web, I said, as dark web, I mentioned this on my YouTube, on my Instagram live. That was last week. A few years ago, I was following people to, I was just exposed to Tor browser. So I was trying to know what was going on in the dark web. When I saw what was going on, I thought Nigerians used to, I thought Africa was land of rituals where they kill children, use their body part. I thought it was even an African thing. What I
Ah,
saw
no.
in the dark web, what I saw in the dark web, if no be say I be man, it didn't shake me, sha. It shook me. So I have two daughters and I got them jealously. And that's why I'm always excited when I have children who can speak up quickly. Not bold speaking, speak up as in communicate fast. So
Mm.
that when anything happens, you see, it goes beyond communication. It goes like me, I discipline mine, but at the same time, after discipline, hey, oh yeah, let's go and play, or I'll go and buy them something. Just so that they can keep talking to me.
Yeah.
I'm their father. I'm supposed to be the disciplinarian. Because at the end of the day, if I don't do my part, the future they'll come back and bite me in the ass. So I have to do what I have to do now. However, we need to be wary. The world is not what it is now. A lot of
At
things
all. What has
are being
gone loco?
a lot of things that were not supposed to be permitted are now being permitted. And in the process, because we are focusing on one thing, the insidious ones are escaping to the side, and we are blindsided to those ones, and we are focusing on the noisy ones. And it's those ones that we are not watching that are the dangerous things going on. You can't even live now. We have families that okay. I remember when we were growing up, sitting on the lap of an adult meant nothing. You can't do that now anymore.
Eh?
You can't.
Well, isn't that chair in the house? Why is it the lap?
That time we go Father Christmas grotto for LTV, channel 8,
Ah,
for
plenty.
LTV. Now laugh, you go sit down now, you go ask you what do you want.
Absolutely.
You bring some nonsense present and give you a present where we are not even like self. Then you come and go home.
I've
You
always
can't
been
do
the
that now.
ungrateful child.
Now it looks, God forgive me. They might not have that kind of mindset, but you see, because of how messed up the world is now, I am forced to see things that way.
Yeah, it's like it's a forcing of growing up in a negative way because, like you are saying, this is the crazy thing, right? You're saying, oh, years ago when we were growing up, we didn't have to do these things, but you see, we had to do those things, but our parents were ignorant. Because when you speak to many of a person in my generation, in your generation, we are in the same generation anyway, in our generation, you will hear many people say, ah, is one my dad's friend who used to come and sit me and squeeze me and be like, ah, you're growing, no, and you start to touch my breasts. And is one uncle that used to come, or one auntie that used to come, that'll be like, ah, I used to sleep beside her, but next thing, all of a sudden, I just know.
Even
And
gate man,
sorry, sorry,
maid.
sorry, yes, Gatesman, Gardner, all of that. They, and our parents were ignorant. They were very, very, they were very, very carefree and loose with us and be like, oh yes, you can go and stay with so and so. But this is the thing, you were talking about communication, and
Mm.
communication is a two-way thing. You as a parent, and this is why when I shared my story, I said, look, the only reason why I'm sharing is because of the children in the future. Because if you're with if your child, normally someone comes to your house, your child is playing carefree, everything. Then all of a sudden, someone comes to your house and you say, "Ah, great auntie so and so," and your child hides behind your leg. The last thing you should be doing is, "Come on, no, no." But you see, the problem, and I was telling a couple of my friends this, the problem, especially with us Nigerians. Now, I will speak only on the people I know. The problem with us Nigerians is we like to save face. We like respect. We like to be perfect. We like people to see us as perfect. That when they talk about us, they say, "Ah, their children, they are well behaved. Wherever they put those children is where those children will stay." We like those kind of things.
It's not
So
even
when
possible.
wait now, but let's be honest, that's what we like. When if someone comes and say, "Ah, your child spoke rudely to you to me," the first thing that will come to your mind is, "Eh? A child of mine spoke rudely." You won't even want to, it will take a while for you to say, "What happened that my child spoke rudely?" Because of that innate thing of you want to be seen as perfect. You want to be seen that you did your job. That yes, I raised my children and I raised them well. It will take a while for you to actually say, "What happened that my child spoke rudely?" Your initial behavior is, "No, my child did not," or my child when I get home I'll show you imagine embarrassing me outside. Even when we are going out with our kids, or even when our parents were going out with us, you will hear, "If you embarrass me outside when you're about to leave the house, you better behave yourself as we're going out. If you don't behave yourself, when we come back to this house, you see what I'll do to you." Because we want to be seen as perfect. We want to be seen that we're doing that. We've got everything under control. And life doesn't happen like that. And in all of our needs to be seen as perfect or whatever, is important that we read the body language of our children. Because even if our child is the kind that talks, in some situations they might not be able to talk, because depending on who it is that is becoming a menace in their lives, that person can have a lot of power and be like, they won't even say,
Abby,
"Oh, eh."
I've seen very outspoken children, right, that were abused. When I say outspoken, they fit
Mm-hmm.
stand in front of 10,000 soldiers. They fit even command the 10,000 soldiers, not just speaking. They are very outspoken. But you see, this thing is a psychological warfare. It's not about who speaks or who does not speak.
Yes.
The assailants, right? Remember that the attacker or the assailant always knows what to do to accomplish that
Exactly.
task. So that child, okay, do I have permission to talk?
Yes.
Mm. You, right from when you did small, saying like your mouth be like papa 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 since childhood. You were not timid now.
No,
From
I
all
wasn't a timid
indication, you were
child.
never a
No.
timid child. At the end of the day, what happened? You get what I'm saying? Mhm. So it's about the assailant's ability to conquer you psychologically.
Mm,
I've even seen timid children where we say it happened, they could not come out directly and say it, but they passed the message to somebody they trusted, and the thing was exposed. So
exactly.
either ways, whether you're picking the talk or they talk put eye on top their head. You have to watch them.
Exactly. Like
You have to
really,
watch.
because there's no how, especially with children. Body language means a lot, because you will know now, unless you are asleep, your child who
Ah,
is happy,
my
jolly, everything, and all of a
my
sudden that
daughter.
child is quiet.
There was a day my daughter came back from school, and I just noticed that she was very calm. What
Hmm.
happened? Uh, what happened? So I said, I'm going to call your teacher now if you don't tell me what happened. And she said that I pushed so and so, our classmate. So the teacher put me in naughty corner. I just said, why did you push so and so? He said, apparently she was at fault. So I was very upset. So I was like, how can you do such a terrible thing? After shouting and doing everything, then after a while, I said, that thing you did is very bad. Very bad. If you do it when you're 18, police will carry you. Do you want police to carry you? No, daddy. I started talking and talking and talking and talking and talking. So she understood that there are consequences for those kind of physical action. But at the same time, I told her that don't let somebody step over you. Like, if you know you are right and you are correct, what you are doing, you are on your right. Stand by your right. This is what I teach. In fact, the small one don't need me to tell her.
But
Oh,
what is
nah.
important is that you notice that something was wrong.
Yes, now.
A lot of parents would notice that something is wrong with their kids and they'll brush it aside. Or if the
Hmm.
child is coming, your child comes home. Your child is not normally the kind of person that comes to stick to you, but your child is suddenly sticking to you, going, "Mommy, mommy,
And
and
it's
leave
quiet
me,
and
Joe,
moody.
leave me, I'm busy." And that child is trying to tell you that something is happening, but they don't know
Hmm.
the way to say it. Because remember, this is not an experience that a child should experience.
At all.
So they might not have the vocabulary to explain what is going on. That's number one. Number two, as you said, molesters know what to say, they know what to do. So already they are being threatened that
They
they
can
must
even
keep
threaten you with
silent.
silly things that even your parents will not even beat you when they know.
And
They'll
now
use
they'll be
those
like, do you want your daddy to go to jail? If you tell your
they'll
daddy will
threaten
go to
you.
jail. So
Hmm.
that child is now trying to communicate that something is wrong, but then you are not too busy. You are like, leave me alone. I'm doing that. I'm like, look, you see, that's a whole African thing of we must have children. No, if you cannot keep your eye on your child and take care of your child and be aware around your child, because you have no business. Just be as you did. Because again, when you hear the kind of things that parents do when their children are going through things, you'll be like, why did you bother to have children? Why? Because all you've done is you've caused a situation where you just fucked up some children's lives.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Professor Cheche. And Malam, please can you put your camera on so we can see you?
You're
Um,
welcome. Let
oh,
me set up my phone.
I can see Ibidu Godare. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm trying to remember. This name is very familiar. I think it's from my music group. From Inner Caucus, I think. I'm not very sure. But good evening. Thank you so much for joining. Professor Cheche, please can you unmute yourself and just speak to us about your thoughts on this, please?
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, very clearly.
Yes,
I
sir.
think we are talking more of child abuse.
Yes.
Okay, so it's quite a big problem. I don't know whether it was worse in our days or it's worse now. I think when I was growing up, we probably were a little bit secretive about it, because we eventually found out later that it was a problem. But nowadays, I think most children are taught how to speak early. I mean, if I look at my own experience, for example, with my children, I guess it'd be difficult for somebody to abuse them because they've learned to be outspoken. But medically speaking, it's a very big problem because child abuse sometimes is opportunistic. So it looks like people try to take opportunity of others, uh, because their word is silent. So it's a very big problem, and I think one parent should be on the watch out for it. Those my views. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You said something. You said maybe in our day it wasn't so bad, and maybe children now are speaking up. Honestly, I think it was bad in our day.
Yeah,
I think it's still bad now. I don't know whether it's worse, but it's still bad now. But you see, what angers me, and this is something I would like your opinion on. What angers me is even parents who grew up in our day, so who were children in our day, and saw these horrible things happening. You will hear parents. I mean, there are two cases I've heard of that. They made me sick to my stomach. The woman caught her husband on top of, so her husband is not the father of the child. Caught her husband on top of her daughter. No be say, oh, she take her two eye, see the man on top of her daughter. Right?
yeah,
The man was now like, is the devil, oh, this one, and is this your daughter? She was trying to seduce me, a 12-year-old. how 12-year-old they seduce, I don't understand. But your daughter seduced me. But take this 30,000 naira and let us die it.
Yes.
And she took the 30,000, then took the daughter and sent her away somewhere where nobody will be able to find her. Meanwhile, when she caught the husband on top of the daughter, she shouted, normal reaction. Hey, what is this? So people came, they knew what happened. Oh, yeah, let us do this case. Let's deal with this man. Ah, no, I don't want to do case. I want to save my marriage. So her marriage is more important than the life of her child. And this is
Well,
not one person. So this is almost like a constant thing. I'm telling you, when I see some women, they when I hear about some women, they make me sick to my stomach. That this marriage is so important. They are ready to destroy their children's lives
well,
because they
there's
don't want to be single.
no, that's a big problem. There's no doubt that the sexual drive and orientation of of men, well, I won't use the word men, of elderly people is sick. I mean, I've had a 61-year-old guy who's a grandfather being caught with an 11-year-old child, and I asked myself, I mean, okay, I came into the casualty and I was on call, and he said, "Oh, it's domestic violence." A girl went upstairs to get matches for a candle, and then she didn't come back for quite a while. And then by the time they got upstairs, they saw the old baba fondling with the girl, playing with her. And I looked at, and then he brought the girl to casualty because she had some lacerations. And the neighbors were with the man outside the casualty. Of course, they had dragged him and almost beat him up. So I went into the casualty to see what my boys were trying to suture because she had a small tear. And the guy, my doctor said, I said, "Where is this girl? Where is she?" You know, and the guy used one hand to lift her up. I looked at this girl. She didn't have, I don't know if I can use the words I want to say, but I'm very careful. She didn't have any, let me use the word we all know. She didn't have any attack. She didn't have any defense.
So
And,
basically, she's just a scrawny kid.
so I was just asking, I said, what is it that this man has seen in this lady? In this small child,
She's
11
a
year old.
child. She's not even a lady yet. She's a child.
Baby, as I'm concerned, a baby. So I now asked when I came back to where the guys were they were holding the granddad, because the guy was a granddad, father of some important kids too. And the guy said he's in love with the girl. And I was like, what? You know,
Hey God.
but that sexual orientation that some people come with. And you'll be surprised. That guy is older than us, but you're wondering what kind of sick guy he is. You know, I remember in Ring Road area for about 2 years ago, prior to COVID, there was some guys that were just raping 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds, and the police didn't make so much fuss about it. In societies like where you are, of course, the intelligence will fish out those guys, or
Yep.
whoever is responsible. But the kind of society where I am back here, I think, like you said, with a girl who was caught with her, who husband caught with the child, it's sickening. And I give you one more experience, which I think, which was near to me. A lady went to the airport. Her husband dropped her in the airport, so her flight was postponed. So she came home. And when she came home, she knocked on the door. Nobody was inside. Her husband was left with a 4-year-old child. By the time he came in, he saw this man, a lawyer, well-to-do guy. His penis was in the mouth of this 4-year-old child, his own daughter.
Jesus.
And she kept on saying, "Why is it that sometimes when I see this girl, she has cross on her mouth, not knowing that it was semen that this guy." And that marriage is still intact. And I'm asking myself, of course, they came to my clinic, they reported the case and everything. When you wanted to drag a police case, it became different. And that child is about 13. I'm wondering each time I see her, I'm wondering what's going through her mind, that her dad used to assault her. Was she aware of this? Of course she was aware. That marriage is still intact with 3 kids. And I'm asking myself,
Do you think that the assault stopped?
I just don't understand. So it's quite a very, very, the morals are poor, and it's bad. And of course, child abuse is a very big problem. I'm into teenagers and things and all that. So it's a very big problem. I think the watchword is that we should all be on alert. I don't think I have only daughters. I don't think I want a situation where my daughters are silent. And I learn later on, maybe when they're in their 20s, that somebody abused them. And I'm looking, is this somebody I know? So it's quite a big problem. Thank you so much.
Abby,
Thank you.
another
Huh?
thing is this. I think we also need to lay.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chris. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thanks
much.
a lot, Dr. Cheche.
Yeah,
Now,
thank you.
another problem is this. I don't know. We need to go and meet
Don't
the
go because I
body,
have questions for you. Please don't go.
the governing body of these psychologists. I don't know what they call the general body for psychologists. I think
Don't go. He has gone.
No, I'm not going though. I'm actually in
Oh,
my
okay.
office.
Don't go, don't go, don't go, please.
so
I
the
mean,
general body for psychologists all over the world. I think it's about time they should come out and start spelling out things, because like I said in my opening speech, I was very careful how I crafted my statements. In the process of opening one small door, we have opened something very dangerous, and nobody is seeing it. And I heard some things. I heard some things recently that really broke my heart, and I was like, some people are meant to be in the insane asylum for life. They are not supposed to be
Yes.
mixing up with human beings. This thing you are saying is not expected. These are not qualities of normal. They are supposed to be in an insane asylum 24/7 being watched. The
or they
fact
Before you
that
can
we
even
can now,
they can get
sorry, I just
castrated.
want to tell you that Dr. Chris is in Nigeria.
oh, okay.
Where exactly are you, sir?
Me? Yeah, I
Yes,
mean in Ibadan.
Ibadan. Hey, he's in Ibadan.
Ibadan.
Ah,
So
okay.
before you continue, I want to ask, on an average, in a month, what number of child molestation cases do you get to see?
Okay, let me put it this way. I sometimes get the child psychologist sometimes get me to review some patients because like I said, I'm into this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um adolescents, and about twice I have had to go to court to
Hmm.
testify because like here we don't do a lot of forensics. So when somebody gets reported, it's word of mouth and the parents try to get some things to do. But like I said, there was a period where around the Ring Road area, which is a popular place in Ibadan, some 8, 9, 10-year-old kids that used to come from school. For a while, they were getting molested, and some of them were getting. But if I can't put my fingers on top of statistics because we all know in the rural, I wouldn't say rural areas, semi-urban areas, it's quite a big problem because people don't have. My sister. The only, I'm sorry, but I want to use something sick. But the only form of recreation nowadays is sex, whether it's adults or nowadays we used to have games, dance clubs, and everything. I think now
Yes.
quite lost. People just occupy themselves with sexual orientations, and then
Everything has been hypersexualized.
just
Yes.
and like I said, the thoughts, people's thoughts. I mean, maybe we went through toasting and knowing all those things. See, somebody wants to have a baby or a child as a sexual partner.
Mm,
Part. But it's quite a big problem because, like I said, I get to hear quite a lot, and it's not many cases get reported because, like you said earlier on, a lot of it is financial gratification, and when
yes.
people give, a lot of people keep quiet, they just take the money and they keep quiet, and your society valuation, there's a lot of value on big money here. There's no value on even small money has so much value. You'll be surprised at what somebody with a child will take and keep quiet. An adult will even take and keep quiet. Not
Mm.
child will take and keep quiet. So it's a very big problem, and I think it's a cause of concern. And I'm happy you're talking about it.
You,
Thank you very
you know, it
Most.
happens the other way around, Abby.
much.
This thing also happens the other way around. I
Yeah,
saw
yeah. Go on.
many
Oh,
many
women
years ago.
molesting. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, many years ago, there was this Congolese video that was shared. That time, WhatsApp was relatively new. It was shared, so everybody had it. And in fact, it was widely shared. I'm not going to go into too much graphic detail, but I'll summarize what was going on. The lady in picture, she didn't know that she was being recorded
Mm.
through a hole. So there's this boy. That boy must have been like 7 or 8 year old, and she was
Mm.
using his hand as the
Mm.
organ.
Mm.
And when if he was not doing it well, he was slapping, hitting, knocking.
What?
And I was like, the slapping, even me, I was feeling the slaps. You're not doing it well, faster, faster, pa, 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 pa. I'm like, and I was like, is this, I don't get it. This is a child. Or is this not a child I'm seeing? I had to clean my eyes. I said, is it maybe a little person that looks like a child? It was a child. Lo and behold.
Ugh,
Lo and
it is
behold,
disgusting.
it was a child.
Ah, Abby Fash. We didn't finish our gist this afternoon. I would we'll talk tomorrow in the morning.
No worries.
I
Abby, why are
can't
you
hear.
looking sexy? Wait. This is the second time she's doing this. Why are you looking sexy? What's going on?
Oh, I beg.
Did
We are
you see the
talking
time?
serious matter. Abby, thanks for joining us,
Did you
Jare.
see the time?
Now we have Dr. Chris, who is a professor in medicine. He's based in Nigeria in Ibadan. And in fact, he's been telling us some serious eye-opening, ear-blowing things. Now, Dr. Chris, are you still there, please? Oh, sorry. Sister Ibidu. Yes, Inner Caucus. I was like, the name looks familiar. Thank you for joining us. Dr. Chris, ahead. Thank you. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for coming back. Now, in the cases that you've seen, in the cases you've heard, most of these molesters, they are men who are usually married, that have children of their own, and they even may be people who are of timber and caliber in the society. Am I right?
Yeah, a few of them, yes.
So it's not as if they are like, maybe,
Uh,
sir?
they're not sexually stabbed. They have wives, they have kids, they have girlfriends and things.
They have wives, they have kids, they have girlfriend, but some are still these small children.
But they are into small children. Yes, I'm listening to you. Yes.
Yes,
So
sorry, I forgot to add, doctor. Sorry, there's something going on. Yes, Abby, Candice Owen mentioned it last week, and I pretended like I didn't hear, but it is true. You know, the porn industry is part of this problem.
definitely.
You know, they have fetishes like sorry, stepmother sleeps with son, stepfather sleeps with stepdaughter, this one, that one. They created sick categories. When I say sick categories, things that you shouldn't even be listening to. They've created it, create in the bid to make money. They've created them as categories, and they are giving it out to public. I know it's acting, but think about it. After the acting, then what? What do you think will happen?
Yeah.
Yeah, because people copy what I mean. I watched a film 2 nights ago. I saw how the character wore rings, and the next day when I was going to college, I wore my rings exactly the same way. I had done it before I even realized that. Wait a minute, I was influenced by TV. And you can imagine how many people get influenced on the subliminal like that. And next thing they start to do. But to me, that thing must be inside of you. Because to look at a child and think that that child is sexy, as a grown person, you have a wife who is complete, top and bottom, but somehow it is a flat, scrawny looking kid that pulls your interest, then there's sickness. There's sickness.
It might not necessarily be sickness.
Ah,
It might
sickness
be-
in
it might not necessarily. Okay, so there could be an element of sickness in it, but sometimes people fantasize on very silly things, and it starts by just like what you've said. You've only watched that movie 2 nights ago, and you did that just maybe once, right? But if you start watching movies like that or something similar to that every other night, every other time, then it becomes part of you, and
then all
then
my hands be ringed.
yeah. And in the night or in some time, you're thinking, what exactly were you supposed to be thinking about? What exactly are you supposed to? And this is not an excuse for people who are sick, because the inability for you to say, you know what, regardless of the madness going on in the movie or going on outside the world generally, this is the way you want to do things. You have to be sane enough to say this is the boundary, regardless, but those thoughts will come. So if you're not a very self-disciplined person, you probably it will take you a certain level. Now we are talking of mental illness. We are talking of people who are intentionally sick. Now,
Ah,
that sickness is not necessarily mental. They are mental. There are people who take way you can tell that these people, no, they've lost it. But there are people who, not that they've lost it, but they're kind of just like, okay, I can't be asked. And if you look at that as well, it's a kind of mental illness, because if someone lacks empathy, and I'm sorry, a lot of people do lack empathy.
but how can you have your own kids? You have your own children at home. Then you now look at your neighbor's children and decide that that's the one you want to Gaddafi.
Only that's why I'm saying to you, because as a society, as a society, we don't have empathy. Majority of us, as a society, and I'm repeating that, as a society, we lack empathy. It's not because we want to, it's not because we're trying to do evil. Because if you're talking about a child now, some people will not look at it like, okay, you're talking about a child, because it's not their child.
Mm-hmm.
To
There's
be
this thing of not my
with.
kid, so I'm good.
But guess what? The same set of people that don't care will now care if something happened. So that's sympathy, because they can't empathize, because if it's their child, they're like, or their cousins or their neighbors or someone very close to them, that's when that thing will make sense to them. So that
Abby,
person,
sorry, oh, this thing you've said
yeah,
reminds me of something that happened when this whole case of one young lady came out against one pastor
yeah,
that he had molested her one thing, the whole case, everybody. And the guy was now talking on Twitter that Kasala just busted in our compound, though, that
mm,
they were having the conversation. And one of
mm,
the men in the compound was like, they should go and sit down, that the girl is after money, that she's looking for money. That's why she's talking rubbish. That he molested her. Well, that what? That a man who is handsome like that, married to a beautiful woman, you now go after that chicken, that piece of chicken. That's what
You see
the
what
man was.
you see what you just said? Very good. I'm happy you said it.
Wait now, wait. Let me even
Okay.
finish the story. Wait. He was not that he shall talk. As he was talking, he
mm,
had asked his daughter to bring something. So the daughter came into daughter is about 11.
mhm,
So she came into the room where they were all sitting down and talking. But she stood in the corner and she was listening to her dad talk. That the girl is after money, Joe. Da, 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 da. And the girl just stood in the corner of the room and said, "But daddy, that's what Uncle so and so does to me too." They said the man nearly crazy. That he was like, what? Who? Which uncle? And that this is a man that is very, very, very close to them. That the man was like, he almost like he wanted to go mad. He now managed to collect himself. He picked up the phone, called the man, and said, where are you? Say, I'm not far. Then say, I want to come to the house. My wife made something special for us to eat. He said, I'm on my way. And when the man arrived, they just went and closed gates behind him. TBT. But the issue is, he did not feel any empathy for the girl that was talking until his own child spoke up.
that is it. And that's the kind
And
of
that's the
society.
average Nigerian behavior.
Yeah, that's the kind of society we're
It's
raised.
not a Nigerian behavior, it's a human behavior.
Hmm.
I,
I
I,
will talk about the
I
people I know.
disagree, Ron. I beg to disagree. And because why I'm saying that is that I'm not saying we are wicked, right? I'm saying that empathy is like you putting things into other people's perspective, which means that if I tell you now that, if somebody slapped me here, I hate it when people slap me here, right? And you will just look at it and say, is it not just slap? Do you know how many slap my father has slapped me when I was growing up?
Uh-huh. But
That's
that's not
Wait,
the
oh,
issue. It doesn't matter how many slaps your father has given you.
Abby, what's
Hmm?
the difference between empathy and sympathy?
okay. One,
Empathy is
one.
different. Okay.
Okay, go on.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want one is
No,
like,
it was Abby I was asking.
oh,
Me?
Benga.
Mm,
Go
mm,
on.
Oh, Abenge. Okay. Well,
mm.
because I teach this at the university, so I think I'm
That's
in
why
the
I
right
asked
place.
you, stop
Oh,
explaining.
yeah.
Just tell us. Ah,
So empathy is sympathy in action and in feeling. So that
Mhm,
is basically putting yourself in someone's shoes, but not just putting yourself in someone's shoes, basically trying to walk in them at the same time. So here's an example I use in class. I see a man begging for food outside. It's cold. It is very cold right now in Bolton. He's sitting outside. He's not wearing a lot. Sympathy is me looking at him and going, hey, yeah, look at this man sitting in the cold and everything. And then I walk into one Morrison's, I do my shopping and I get out and I go. Compassion is me seeing that man going, hey, yeah, so, hey, hello, it's cold though. Are you okay sitting out here? And then go. Empathy is I go, I see him. Hello, my name is Abby. It's very cold. Is it? Hey, I'm just here trying to manage everything. You're not wearing anything that is warm. Okay, give me a minute. I go into Morrison's because I'm thinking if I'm cold, he must be colder. I go into Morrison's, I buy a jacket, I buy hot tea, I buy warm food. I take it outside to him and say, please try and manage this. Do you have anywhere you're going to sleep tonight? I just need £6 to be able to add to the money I'm going to buy because they give hotels here for £12 to homeless people. I give him the £6. Oh yeah, leave the code. Go and stay. So I used to be warm. That is empathy. Not just being in someone's shoes, but walking in them so that you are like, I'm almost feeling what this person is
what
feeling.
they're feeling. Yeah. And so
That's the difference.
you put yourself into as if you try to imagine that wherever they're feeling
What
at
if
that
this
point, that's what you are feeling. So if I
Mm.
say to you, run, that someone slapped me, right? Someone duped me, for instance. Let me use something relative.
yes
Someone duped me, and then you are like saying, they dupe you. Why are you so silly? Why would you allow them to dupe you like that? And as simple as that thing might look to you, is the empathy in it to say that anybody can be duped. And for you now
so
to not
instead of
look
saying
at
that like,
okay,
oh my
But
god, that
do you know why I said it?
yeah,
why
Because you refused to give me loan when I asked you.
run,
you're not a serious person.
run.
I've not even did the crime has not even occurred.
In order to give you loan, we need to assess
I
um
beg leave you
your
can
needs.
discuss this even outside of this thing. I'm
I
talking
know,
serious
but you
issues.
never know who is listening. You know me, I'm always taking every avenue. So we don't just give loan, we also assess the needs of the people who need the loan. Just
Man
by
who is
looking
rich
at you
that was
alone.
eating lamb with vegetables. You see, you
Now,
have let
just by
Doctor. I have
looking
not
at
finished my
you
questions.
alone.
Dr. Chris has left. I don't
No,
Just by
finish
but
my question. You came with your
Happy,
yeah
I need a
question, eh?
Tesla now. It's a need. I need a Tesla.
Look,
for
bros,
Petrol
me,
I
prices
had a
are going up.
serious person who was going to give us information, and you came with your nonsense gist. Now
He's
he has
coming back
gone.
now. He's
coming
Yeah,
coming
back.
back.
better come back. Oh,
He's coming back.
What what
Okay,
we
so
need to
I wanted to add something to what you were saying.
focus on.
You remember? Okay, now this is not to judge anybody. Remember the big socialite guy that got killed by the
by the
side
girl,
chick,
by that girl that
Mhm.
was his girlfriend or something.
and all of a sudden somebody dug out his wife's picture and like, how can a man be cheating with a beautiful wife like this? We get this and that. And the first thing that came to my mind was like, when will Nigerians start having sense? Like, if it was as rosy and as nice as you think it should be, why would he be all out doing what he was doing? We don't know how they live. We don't know their relationship status. We don't know how they communicate, whether they are in good terms, whether they are
Wrong.
cats. I'm coming. I'm
There are
coming. I'm
many
coming.
men who are
I'm
happily
coming. Hold on.
married.
Hold on. Hold
They
on.
still
I'm going somewhere with this.
Go
I'm going
on.
somewhere with this. We always assume on the surface, right? It is possible, and this is me theorizing. I don't live with them. I'm just because I've seen this happening to other people. It is possible that they were even on the way out. Like when I say out, that they've had a talk to here. They were just stringing along for society, not to label them. They didn't want people to ask questions, so they were just playing along and all that. But it was over long time ago.
that's a
Do you
Maybe.
understand?
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a
So
possibility. It's a possibility.
it's something that we see all the time.
It is one of several possibilities. It's also
Yes.
possible that their marriage was fine, everything was going well. But like, this is one thing I've also found out in my checking with all this molestation, right?
Mm.
That some people, when you see some rich people who indulge in these things, it's out of boredom. Like, I have acquired what money can acquire. What else can I do?
What can I
It
do?
is
Drug
now to
addicts.
start looking at the forbidden,
That's
which
like
is
that's how
again the
drug
same thing.
addicts.
And it's the same thing with some rich men. I
Mm.
have a wife, I have my children, I'm bored. Let me get a girlfriend. There's nothing wrong with their marriage. But that thing of in my culture, a man can have as many wives as he wants, or he can have, or some men believe very strongly in this. It's a man's prerogative to cheat. Men are made to cheat. So even
Mm.
when he has a wife who does everything, she makes him happy, she does. But that thing of men are meant to cheat, so he must go and cheat, even though there's no reason to cheat, though. But he will still go and cheat because he feels he must fulfill that. Men must go and cheat.
I
So
think
you will find
I
those
think
kind of
Abby, did you hear what Benga said now? Like, even
what
though there's no reason, she's making it sound like there's an official reason.
no, no, I'm even saying that you are giving an example that maybe they're on their way out or something, that maybe the
No,
place
on
isn't
the way out is separation now. That's separation.
oh no,
They
no,
are
now.
done.
So that's the
Mm,
reason. That's
mm,
the reason that the man can say, that's why I went to cheat, or that the marriage isn't rosy. That's why I went to cheat. But there are some
mm,
men, their marriages are fine. They come home, they are treated like kings, and yet in their mind, they still need to have an extra woman outside.
Okay, let me say this. Sometimes when, and I know that maybe this is just not related to the topic, I'm not sure why we're going this way, but
Exactly, now run now.
I think sometimes when we look at people and marriage, and people say, "Oh, my marriage is not working." A particular guy that I know was kept telling me the marriage is not working, and I was like, "Okay, what have you tried?" Now, unlike the populace, maybe usually when he meets a lady, they're always like very keen to want to be with him. I'm like, no. So what's happening to your marriage? I really need to know. I was very curious. Because me, I like statistics. I want to really know. Like I want to dig deep. What's your problem? Are you the problem? Obviously, everybody is going to say they are not the problem. So I started digging deep. I was asking questions. By my question, I could see that this guy is the one frustrated, not the wife. Now, why is he frustrated? Because he's frustrated about
Sorry,
um
guys. I'm listening. I just want to go and get my meds.
okay,
Continue.
I'm frustrated about the I'm trying to look for a better way to say, the white and black thing. These Oyinbo people have done this, blah 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 blah. So that thing has already entered him so much that when he's going to work, look for work, he's already having that prejudged information to say that okay, they're not going to take me because I'm this color. They're not going to take me. So those things already eating him up so deeply. Now he has a family, he has a wife. So most of the responsibility that he's meant to do because he can't find a job, right, is affecting the wife. So the wife became the breadwinner. The wife became the breadwinner, okay? And then, but instead of him to see that, okay, even if I'm not the breadwinner, whilst I'm still here with my family, what can I do? Then he's looking for way out. Then I said to him, I said, you have a problem. And your problem is internal. You need to deal with you. You are the problem. And that's what a lot
mm,
of people need to hear. You, the man, you have the problem. I said, your wife is not the problem because your wife's problem can be fixed. But
mm,
until you sit down, sit yourself down, you see all these ladies or whatever that you're looking for, they cannot help you. You're just going to waste your life. Unfortunately, I
Wait,
don't.
what? Wait, which ladies? You said all these ladies that he's looking for, they cannot help him.
They can see what he's looking for is women do this, men do that as well, where you're looking for trauma bond.
Mm.
You're looking for
Somebody that
somebody
will listen to your
that will
pity
listen to
party.
wow, your whim, like, oh, this is what is
Mm,
happening to me. I'm told women do look for it as well. But in this case, is the guy that is looking for it, which is very rare. He was looking
because
for it.
there's no communication.
because there was no communication. But what
Mm.
breaks the communication is ego. What breaks the maybe it's ego or it's pronounced ego? Oh, I don't know. But
It's
Ego,
ego.
ego. Yeah.
Ego.
what breaks the communication is the fact that he was feeling bad that he couldn't do what he's supposed to do. You get what I'm trying to say? He was feeling bad, but I'm saying that pour off all of those things and start. Have you even take? And I asked him simple question: do you take your family house on holiday? No, they live in London. They've never been anywhere. The children have never been anywhere. The wife, he and the wife have never been anywhere. And I'm like, excuse me, hang on a minute. Are you guys normal? And they'll be doing 20 years anniversary. I'm like, what the heck?
Mm.
Point there I'm trying to say is that most times when you go out, I'm imagining this guy is my child. You go out, and I'm thinking, what will I do if my child is in this limbo? And I'm not supposed to be thinking that way. But if my child is in this limbo, am I going to make him get lost more? Or I'm going to send him back home? Yeah, boy, go back to your house. And these are the kind of things that is happening. This communication, you're not talking, you're not trying to put, like, if you are put your wife in that whatever, your wife is, you are the husband and you're doing everything, and your wife just sitting down. At some point, you get tired. There's so many men crying as well because their wife is just like, oh, because I'm married now, because I'm looking after the kids, I'm not going to do anything. When I see that,
Many. Do you know that I mentioned it the other time when Bumi was on, and I said that many women, right,
mm-hmm,
when dating, they are sexually active, right? As
yeah,
soon as they get the first
They
child,
are
second
tired. They
child,
have headache.
they no, and this has nothing to do with the guy. Or maybe it's not as if the guy is not servicing or anything. They feel that the cycle that they started has been completed. There's no need for recreational sex anymore, and they will come up with all sorts of excuses. In fact, using the children as shields to avoid sex. And we
me.
discussed it the other time.
From when I think when my kids were little, I think they were crying. One of them was crying, and we were on angle whatever. And I'm like, I'm gonna cry, yo. Yeah, I'm gonna finish this project before I go and carry any baby. No, no.
Okay, guys, I don't know how we got onto this topic, but let's get back on track.
What is
So,
wrong?
we are still talking about child abuse, the effects, but not just the effects of it on children or things like that, but what
If
to
you did
do as
what?
parents. What to do as parents when we are seeing, things changes in our children. So we have um yeah, this Mr. Femi now from Inner Caucus. I recognize your face.
Yeah,
He has been
Abi, you
missing
are
in
right
action.
now.
yeah,
Missing in
missing in
action. No, you
action.
came and you just abandoned us. It is well.
Mhm.
You
Apologies.
know, he's
You're
doing
welcome.
many
So
businesses.
please, what
Forgot
are your
us.
thoughts? What are your thoughts on what we've been talking about? Because, and before you speak, I want to just put something out there. Because again, we've said for some people it's a mental health issue, for some people is a case of what else can I do? Some people is a case of deep darkness inside of them, excuse me, and all of that. I'm sure if we ask each and every one of us now, okay, I was molested as a kid, right? So I am at least I am one person now. If we ask every single person, they will know at least three people that have been molested. Am I right or am I wrong, Mr. Femi?
Yes, you're right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, in my style of answering questions, there's always both sides of the coin because I I can see a difference. We always Yoruba say if you do so see a shit. Child abuse then 20, 30, 40 years ago is not seen as child abuse then. It is now that we can begin to say, okay, this child abuse. But people like me, I think I went to a place whereby was he I went to southeast London and I saw this mom and this son. You did it. I did not do it. You did it, and then when it went on 5, 10 minutes, and the boy was crying. This boy should be around 17. instant there, my feet just stuck to the ground. I was looking at them. My mind just went straight to 30 years ago. Why
Hmm.
I was being dealt with based on nothing I knew of. That's why my dad remarried. The woman want to put his foot on ground and took me out of the equation. And then, so when my dad comes in, what happened? Fear, 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 fear. So I just went in trance in a bus stop. Can you imagine? I missed my bus. I just went straight there. That wow, this is what I was going through then, where this man refused to investigate about his son and and dealing with him unnecessarily. 84 November, I left him, and since then, but then now I realize that yeah, we could quote unquote child abuse, but it's not to them then. Before he passed away, I sat him down and I began to speak to him. He was crying. He was crying. But in
Hmm.
today's lingua, it's child abuse, but then it's not child abuse. Then it's like I'm training you guys to be strong, to be a good adult, and so on and
But
so forth.
sorry, but Mr. Femi, beating a child, which in its own way is abuse. Beating a child because you feel they've done something wrong and you're trying to correct them, you're trying to train them, all that, which I don't subscribe to because a lot of parents use anger in the
Aha,
name of training.
there's
So
imbalance
I
in
don't
that.
subscribe to it.
There's imbalance also
But
in
what we
that.
are what we are actually talking about is child molestation, where
Oh,
children are molested by adults. Adults will
oh,
look at an adult man, an adult woman will look at a child of 5, 6, 7 and be aroused and start doing things to them that no child should know anything about.
that's true.
Because I
That's true.
remember being 5, and as Ron rightly said, I'm not a quiet child. I was not a quiet child. I was not a child that you could hold my mouth and tell me keep quiet. But when that happened, I didn't have the vocabulary to explain
Hmm.
what was happening to me or what had happened and continued to happen. But then I wasn't even given the opportunity to even speak.
Yeah,
I
that's
wasn't
true.
given the opportunity because it was a case of, hey, I sent you somewhere, you're just coming out, hey, bass, boss, bass, bass, and all of that. And nobody really looked at me to see that my childhood had been shattered. My childhood had been stolen. My
Hmm.
childhood had been, debased. It was about
Hmm.
that perfection of my child that I train. I send you somewhere, you come back immediately. Da, 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 da. But you don't, if I'm your child that you train and I'm supposed to come back immediately and I don't come back immediately, should you be castigating me for that or checking why I did not come back immediately?
Yeah, I think our youth age was mirrored with imbalance because the issue of molestation, I think it was common then, but just that you can't set out from both from the men's side, both from the girl side, the boy side. But we all grew up with imbalance then because there's some things that when I sit down and I look at what happened in my when I was 5, 7, 10, and I begin to resonate of wow, will I be happy if that happens to my son, my daughter? And then I it's really
So
No,
was it
but
that our parents were well, because if it was some because again when we were growing up, if it came out, do you know how many house girls got sent away that they'll say is the gardener or the gatesman that got them pregnant. Meanwhile, it's Ogao, but they will say is the gatesman or whatever. And they might, force the gatesman to marry the girl because he too is being the girl at one point or whatever, that kind of thing. And it's like this evil was allowed to fester because our parents did nothing. There were more, and that's what I was talking about. That's innate need of perfection. That's the average Nigerian. And again, I will only speak about the people I know. The average Nigerian parent is about perfection. They want to be seen that they are perfect parents, that they brought up their children well, that their home is going okay, that their children are obedient and everything. And it's not really about the individuality of their children. And that need for perfection, that needs that I train my child well, look, hey, me I train my child well. So when your child acts out of character, instead of stopping and saying, why is my child acting of character? What happened? You were okay yesterday. Why are you different today? What happened? What did someone say to you then? He's like, you want to disgrace me? You want to embarrass me? Bah, 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 bah. No, you will not disgrace me. Before you disgrace me in this house, I will kill you. Because what was used against me was, you know how your parents is. You know how your parents is. You know that they will not tolerate any nonsense. Go open your mouth and say something. You see what will happen to you. Which is precisely what happened when I tried to open my mouth, because it was that need for perfection. You will see many parents when they are about to take their children outside, they'll be like, we are going out. If you like, disgrace me. When we come back into this house, you will see. Is that need for perfection. And children take that thing on.
No,
Yeah,
but
but
actually, technically,
that impact, that
in that
imperfection,
context,
that's
that's discipline.
No, wait. I'm not talking about, I'm not saying
To them,
it's still that
it's
discipline is still about perfection. If you look at it, it's still about perfection. That yes, it's discipline, but the discipline is not really about you learning something, it's about me looking good.
I think, Abby, when you look at it from the perspective, and I know we don't want to excuse them, I know we don't like to excuse them, but sometimes they don't know any better. And that is why,
Of course.
and this is why I have issues with parents of today who will open their eyes or open their mouth and say that I want to do things the way my father did it 20 years ago, 100 years ago. I want to do things
Are you okay?
the way my father did it. Because there are people who will still tell you because they are trained, they are well trained. Because sometimes a lot of things that is happening in our society as a Nigerian community as a whole is because of all these things that have been messed up at some point in our lives.
Yes, there's a lot of trauma that the average Nigerian is carrying.
Like you when you talk, you're not supposed to be talking. There are certain things you're supposed to hide everything inside of you. Maybe Yoruba people say go farasinuku. I don't know the right word. Like rather just make you, when I remember the first time I read about Habi and she was saying that she had this, I was like, hey, this girl, she can say that this is what's wrong with her and all of that. And it's something that we are not supposed to say. It's a taboo for you to even come up and say, oh, this is who you are, this is what you are. You have to hide, you have to pretend, even when you are dying inside.
Because of perfection.
It's about perfection. That's how we grew. That's how we grew up. So any child that will come out and say or do otherwise must have been a rebel from baby, from a child. That becomes the problem.
I am a rebel all through my growing up.
Sorry?
Yeah. I say that's me. I am a rebel all through my growing up. But let's now come to the present. What I've seen is London, UK, that baffles me is even worse than what has happened 20, 30, 40 years ago. The issue of, I think I mentioned this in the last time I commented here. The issue of do as I say and don't do as I do has turned many children and parents against each other in this country. That's why you see most of our children from our community just walk away. That's why they've seen daddy say,
the hypocrisy is epic.
Exactly. I remember I said,
and that's the thing, we are let's leave. You see, we are a religious people, but we are also very hypocritical.
That's
very, very hypocritical. Because okay, you will hear now. Look at the cases we've been hearing about in Nigeria: pastors, spiritual leaders, imams. Do you know how many children that imams are fondled in the name of they're teaching them kill? Do you know how many children that went to cat scheme and they went to go and learn more than cat, all kinds of, and we are such a religious, such a cultural, and we are like, we are proud, we are proud, we are proud, and yet a lot of horrible, disgusting things are happening under us. And instead of us coming out and speaking about it, we'll be like, ile lati keshoro de, or whatever, like, let's keep our secret, and all that nonsense, and we hide this bullshit, and it festers.
Let me put this analogy out, which is everybody comes out and say that my dad is the best, my mom is the best, my siblings
Mm,
are the best, my family member are the best. But I'm saying, so who are the evil people? Are they
criminals.
those
Since
who
everybody's
are
family
the
is the
criminals?
best.
Because if everybody's family members are the best, you see people say, "Oh, my parents are the best," even when you know that they are not. But at least to save face, then shut up. But we won't. We'll come out and say, "World best dad, world best mom," and I'm now saying, so who are the bad parents? Who are the bad people? Here is the bad cop. We can't
In,
be
in, in what in what context? Abi, in what context? In what context? Because if it's here, it takes the boy or girl to be 18 and walk away. But in Nigeria, we keep it in, we pretend when I get
no,
married.
because
We
we
pretend
are
and then
talking as much as we're in the UK, but we're talking in the Nigerian
contest.
community context and general.
Yes,
So we are
Okay.
focusing more on our people because even here
yes,
with our
Mm.
people, you will see that we just want that perfection, just like Abby said. So who
yeah.
some child, let me give you an instance. And when my kids were young, and I know this is not relevant to the topic, when they were younger, I think something happened. They went to visit a child was coming to church and the woman, I realized that she left her child's hair, but I didn't know why. Apparently, the child had headlights, but she didn't say it. And my kids moved closer to her. And then they both, two of them at the same time, they had headlights. I was like, where did these headlights come from? It's not from their school because they would have written a note and all of that. You
Mhm.
know what I did? I told every child that comes to my, to my house, to my house, and I said, at this point, though, we are dealing with a serious issue here. Don't come to our house. Do you understand? And everybody said,
Mhm.
well, you're not supposed to say it. You're not supposed to think, but why would I want to make sure that particular thing happens to every other person? The kind of thing that we do in our society is that we see the truth, we move away. The kids look at us, they're wondering, but you're saying the truth, you move away. It doesn't correlate. And so they can't see the real you. Because you are a pretender, they end up pretending as if they are with you as well. And at some point, they'll be like, you know what? I can't keep up with this nonsense anymore. I gotta go. And that's why you see them walk away. Because they were not, because they go to school and all of that, they learn all these little things to say that, okay, be truthful, say a few things, the way they are, do things the way they are. I get corrected by my one. I told Abby, I get corrected by them every now and again. If I preach to them, tell them, you the father loves his child, society, they'll remind me. If I say, I need motivation, because me too, I don't like to do pretense. They say, motivate yourself. Because that's what I'll say to them. Like, you can't always expect people to be giving you praise. You have to within yourself, give yourself praise. You have to encourage yourself. So when I'm asking for the same thing, they say, Mommy, do it yourself, do it
Motivate
yourself.
yourself.
So, and I wouldn't get angry with that because I'm thinking, this is what I have trained you to become. And then if you tell me that, it shouldn't bother me. And I shouldn't say because Yarisi is with me, and I say I want them to behave in a very different or certain way. And this is where this thing happened because if they cannot open mouth to
Exactly.
tell you, my friends will tell me, she always say that if you have, she said that if they have my children, if you have Abby's children, make sure you don't do anything bad with your face. Make sure, because they report it. My friend will pack something, say, mommy, when we were going, your friend was packing this thing on the road, she was doing this, they will tell me every little
Everything
thing.
they will talk.
I took them to a childminders place when they were young. I asked them, how was the place? He said, Mommy, in the house, there were so many people. And the woman did not tell me. And she was doing as if she was the only two people there. As soon as I left, I said, they have different time that they were taking people in. That was the last time I took them there. And these are the
But
kind
you
of
see,
things
it
that you
is that
know.
communication. You see, a lot of parents will see their kid, and I keep harping on this thing. Once you as a parent, you're supposed to know your child. You're supposed to know what their behavior is. Once that behavior is altered,
Mhm.
don't fob it off and be like, oh, they're just saying. No, especially if someone comes to your house, there's an auntie, an uncle, a much loved friend of yours,
Oh,
and
this
you're
is
talking
your cabbage.
with you say, ah, come and greet uncle and turn back. The last thing you should be doing, ah, did you hear me? Come on, will you come and greet him? No, just be like, okay, go. Hey, these children. Then when that visitor goes, go and meet your kid. Why didn't you want to greet Uncle so and so? What happened?
Mm-hmm.
It could be a simple case of, I just didn't feel like, and you investigate it over and over, and it was just a case of, well, they just didn't feel like. Then you can say, well, when visitors come, it's only polite that we greet them. But you
Mm-hmm.
might be surprised to find out that it's because the last time they sat down on Uncle so and so's leg, Uncle so and so used his finger in the name of, oh, Ginika, and did something to their body. Or that stupid greeting that a lot of men used to do back when I was growing up, where they will scratch your palm. They'll say they're greeting you, they're shaking your hand, then they'll scratch your palm, and everybody
Mm.
knew it was a symbol for, oh, I think you're sexy. And they'll be doing it to children as little as 10, 11. Abby, I don't know if you know that greeting when an uncle will be, shake me, and you shake him, you now scratch your palm.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
You know that greeting now. Again, if you went and said that to your parents, it to our parents, they'll be like, scratch your palm. Come on, go and sit down somewhere. It's rare to see a parent who would take it serious. And let me tell you, you see, people might think, Shebi is rape when they were small, they'll forget. No, 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 no. Don't ever say that. Because you know what? That thing is sitting inside their brain because it is an experience they had no business whatsoever experiencing. It was a knowledge that should not have been introduced into their brain. And it is such an invasive and destructive experience that it literally creates a hole in the brain.
Hmm.
And that child will spend the rest of their life trying to heal that hole.
Yeah,
Look
that's
at you.
true.
You said you saw something happening between people at a bus stop, and it took you
Yeah,
back.
I was
At least you're
yeah.
not in your you're not in your 30s. So
No.
this is at least a good 20 years that you took you back.
Yeah, taking back to the 80s at that time, yeah, because
uh So
yeah,
imagine that's a good 20 years plus. Now
yeah.
imagine somebody who is being molested by someone who wears a certain kind of perfume, or
Ah, that's
uses a
worse.
certain kind of body cream, or has a certain kind of color that they wear, or
That would
certain
trigger,
mouth
yeah,
odor, and that person comes across that smell. What do you think is going to happen to that person?
that would trigger that imbalance
And
crying, and
take them
then
back
yeah,
to a place where
like
they will be completely vulnerable, and it
exactly.
might start another wahala all over again.
Yeah, it could trigger some sensibility, and then yeah,
Yes,
sorry,
and
yeah,
next
yeah,
thing you'll be wondering why the person is behaving as if something is wrong with them. It's because they've been taken back to a nasty period in their life.
yeah,
So
yeah.
when
But
people say, it has happened 20 years ago, why are you talking about it now? Hey,
yeah, I know.
because
Maybe semblance.
it will never go away. It's
Exactly.
look, and I give respect to people who say they went to Jesus, they prayed, Jesus healed them. Yes, Jesus healed their heart, their pain. But you see, that scar is still there.
Till
Yeah,
tomorrow, when
but
people,
there's always a way out to set ourselves free from that situation
Oh
consciously.
yes, no, of course there is. But what I'm saying is that you will forget is a lie.
Mm-hmm.
You will never forget.
I
No,
think that
situation might trigger you to remember that, just like me. Situation might arise around you, something that look alike,
That's what I'm
smell
saying. If
just like
if it
you
was
understood that,
something
yeah.
that you forgot, if that
Yeah,
situation happened, you will not trigger anything.
yeah,
Do you
but
understand what I'm saying?
you could kill it, because I remember after I lost my boss.
Mr. Femi, let me explain something. If you
Go
have
ahead.
forgotten something, eh?
Yeah.
If you have
Mhm.
forgotten it,
Yeah.
even if something similar happens, you will not be triggered because you've forgotten it.
Yeah. You're correct. You are
But
correct.
in as
100%.
long
Yeah.
as it is somewhere inside your brain sitting there,
Mm-hmm.
It
it will be
depends on what
triggered.
you are forgetting, though. This is what I'm trying to say. If it was a bad experience, I almost got like a near rape experience, and this was from a close how would happen? Not necessarily relative, but a close family friend. That person got introduced to my mom as a church brother, who was also a lesson teacher, and was taking me lesson and all of that. And my parents really, particularly my mom, my mom is like a very religious person, so anybody that is church person like this, even if they are criminal, before unless she find that person using gun, she would just be like, hey, my church brother, he was going to MFM and all of that. So
Mm,
um, I till tomorrow when people are laughing with me unnecessarily, it can trigger me.
mm-hmm.
uh, Doing unnecessarily fun thing for nothing. Maybe you're talking and you're saying, mommy, and you're laughing like God bless you and all of that. I get triggered. And when I say this, people are like, that shouldn't trigger. It does trigger me because I'm like, don't be too familiar. You're doing like this person because this is how this person started. This is how he started being very close to my family. This is how he started coming and even pastors. When people are smiling, God bless you, man. I'm like, if you say that God bless you, man, again, I'll block you. Don't be too, there's some
Mm-hmm.
people when you see they're too jumpy. They just want to come around you and all of that. And it's a good thing, don't get me wrong. But because of what has happened, and because I'm like, I trusted this man as well. He didn't touch me, but the
Just
anger,
knowing that you were that close.
I was that close because he was telling me that if not for the fact that he doesn't want to see blood, he was telling me, he was like, and the aim, according to him, was to keep me silent. Because I was a problem to him. I was talking to everybody that he has done something to say, why don't you report him to your parents? Why don't you report this man to your parents? Why don't you say, I was like, okay, it's you that you're doing so if I catch you, and he told me I had lesson. So if someone tells me something like that, I don't believe you. Like, why don't you trust? You should trust. I don't trust. Because this man, my mom can say never. And I'm saying it, if she were to be alive, I say that this man did it. My mom can be like, a godly man like that. And that's another problem. Because they
Hmm.
rather believe that man and say that that man is because you hate that man. That's why you're lying about it.
And that thing just blows my mind.
From day one, by my instinct, does not accept this man. From day one, I said, Mom, I don't know, there's something off about this person. They will just not listen. You must be a stubborn child. You don't like somebody to
Yep.
discipline you. You don't want to
Yep.
learn. You don't want to do anything. And that
Yep.
became an issue. That became an issue. So sometimes those things, my think is gone. There was a day I had to go on this
Mm.
man's Facebook. I was looking at him and he was writing such things. The day, I don't know, maybe Baba Desha or some kind of Busola thing. It was talking. I was like, something inside of me was like, there was only anger. Like for me to say, you are even talking. You, I know, not one girl, not two, not three, not four, not five that you molested.
In fact, you've taken us into a good segue because I'm going to have to end the show on this note. But I had plans to get Princess the comedian, who was very much in the center figure of the whole Baba Jesha debacle. This is somebody who went through it and had to leave Nigeria because we are going to continue this show next week because we need to talk about the place of the police. We need to talk about the place of people in the community because when we were growing up, funny enough, we had this belief, but a lot of atrocity was going on under. But we believe that it took a community to take care of a child.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, in fact, we are having more of a community taking care of children now than it was in our day. because at least people will see something and say something. They'll go on it in social media. They'll go and call somebody that they know and say, "Ah, I saw Mr. Uche sneaking into that small girl's house. Every time he'll be gauging when her mother goes out." And I've noticed. In fact, I went there to say I wanted salt, and it was like, auntie going home. And I said, "Is this your own house?" Things like that. I personally think that people are actually being more of their brother's keeper now than in the
Now,
past. But the problem is that the authority figures in place, they are the authority figures that are like that they have the empathy, that empathy that Abby was talking about, that have the empathy that they're like, our children are our future. There are not a lot of them. They are more concerned about what are we going to eat today. So they bring somebody. We found him. Oh, how oju koro on top of a small child. Bring him. We lock him up. Then they'll now go. Ngbo, you too, at your age, you want small children. Oga, please, I will give you anything you want. Please help me with this case. Help me, sir. Help me. So how much do you have? I will give you 1 million. 1 million. Okay, no problem. Yeah, transfer it inside my account. Oh, yeah, come out. Then the people that brought the case the day before will be like, where is Mr. Lagbaja? We did the investigation and no. Oh, yeah, where is your proof? Is there photo? Is there anything? They'll now start asking stupid questions. And you'll be like, are you joking us? And that's how that case will enter the bush. Because this is the funny thing to me, the Yoruba people say I can't say the exact Yoruba, but you carry a knife, you are beheading people. But when it now comes to your own head, you now say, no, I like my head on my neck. But when you were beheading everybody, you were okay.
I bet in Lori.
I call it So when you are doing this evil, you are doing it. Then the day they catch you, you now say, please, forgive me. It's the devil's handwork. Really? So the devil was there when you were doing this thing.
I always ask a question. Did the devil not push them to go and meet the Kiloman a truck on the main road for the car or for the lorry to push that person into Third Million Bridge river or wherever that river is called? The devil did not do you to go and meet your mother. The devil did not do it to
He didn't move you to go and meet your sister, to go and meet your mother. He didn't move you. It's someone else's innocent child that the devil moved you to go and meet. At least if the devil is going to teach you to do something evil, it will be something that is really, really, really evil, Abi.
Yeah,
so, anyways, I'm going to end the show. I don't know where Ron is. He sort of left, but I'm going to end the show tonight on this because hopefully next week we will have Princess so she can come and share her experience. Because if this woman wasn't someone who was relatively famous and that she got people who were famous to stand up and shout for her, Iyabo Ojo got insult upon insult upon insult on top of this thing, but she didn't keep quiet. They kept talking. They made a social media case. They dragged everybody. They were petitioning. And it took over a year. And after all that was said and done, Baba Jesha was given, was it 10 years? Because it wasn't even only that girl, other people came out, but at least he got something, which is very unusual in Nigeria, that a rape person actually gets jail time. Because usually the police will say, what did you wear there? Did the person invite you? And you two, you went. What were you wearing? Why didn't they'll be asking stupid questions. And unfortunately, while we have some very good, police people, in fact, Enuka, I wish Enuka came on. Enuka still told me about a very, very good police person that she personally knows who is really doing the job. But for everyone good person like that, he get a CB. Why did the film Crash Collision that is on Netflix, why did it make such an impact? Because everybody recognized at one point in time when police will harass them for money. I say anything for the boys. Hey, now we're done. I do a happy weekend for us now. I remember when I went back to Nigeria in 2008, I was in my friend's car. We were on the island. No, we were at Okwebi Island, right? And next thing, there was this roadblock. It was the police or the army or whatever. They had blocked the road and they were basically checking cars. And this guy had a gun. Me, where I think say I had a full blown panic attack, like meltdown. This police officer had to go and hide his gun. I was begging me, Madam, calm down. Madam, breathe. Madam, breathe. Calm down. You go faint, oh, Madam, please. Like I was hyperventilating, I was crying, I was screaming because I saw a man holding a gun in the middle of the road and he had shouted at my friend, "Park, park!" And I was like, God, they're going to shoot us, they're going to shoot us, they're going to shoot us. I left Nigeria in 2004. I went home in 2008 and I was still traumatized from seeing a police officer carrying a gun and shouting. So next week we are going to continue on this. Okay, thank you, sis. She said, Abeni lori ko ni jẹ́ kí wọ́n mú idà kọjá ìpàkọ́ òun. Like the person who is beheading heads will not let a knife go near the back of his head. Like. So he won't even go for a haircut because he doesn't want a knife near his own head, but he's beheading people. So please, for the people who are watching, share this video. Let this conversation continue. Let us start to think about what can we do to prevent these things. What can we do to ensure that our children are safe? And especially my women folk, because I'm a feminist and I'm proudly so. Please, women, when it comes to either your children or your marriage, come on. I don't even think that anybody needs to be telling you this. That you would choose a man who is molesting your child over your child that you carry for 9 months, that you went and pushed out, and you comfortably will be like, I want to keep my marriage. To who? Is that somebody you should be married to? Someone who is molesting children? Is that who you should keep being married to? Should they even hear it outside that you are still married to that kind of person? Dr. Chris came here and he said that the woman walked in on her husband, putting his private member in their 4-month-old child's mouth, and that marriage is still standing.
Yeah.
Who does that? If it's not somebody who is equally sick.
No, it's love.
May love's head enter fire.
What will people say and love?
No, God forbid.
And they have to cover the secret inside.
In fact, I'm going to specifically beg Dr. Chris because I was very upset when Ron came up with the stupid news and Dr. Chris left because it didn't pepper me, But honestly, we need to have these conversations. We need to start talking to ourselves and saying, look, marriage is good. I'm not married, but in fact, my friends are here. They are married. I'm looking at their marriage. The thing, they hungry me. Me that I've always said I'm not interested in marriage. I'm looking at them and now marriage is hungry me because it is beautiful, right? But if you know, and you have caught the person, like this, whether it's your wife or your husband, doing something that nobody should even conceive, please choose your child. Because remember, this child did not ask to be born. Choose your child, please. Let's stop this nonsense of I'm in love, my wife, my husband, I'm so in love, and therefore my child can go and hang. Hey, because then you now hear that child will now grow up, pick up a gun, go into the parents' home and just shoot both of them at point blank, and you now be like, hey, look at atrocity. But What happened? What made that child get to that point? So thank you, every single person who's been watching us, who's contributed, in fact, Sister Ebidun and Oshongodare, thank you so much. I love all your comments. You have been, and Tolumide who loves the sauce like me on mashed potatoes. Thank you so much to every single person who has joined us, and of course to Dr. Chris, to Abifash, to Mr. Femi, and to Ron DJ Wiki Wiki himself. Thank you so much for joining us. Until we do this again, because we will next week, and we're going to still talk about this subject, and hopefully I'll be able to get Princess to come and share her experience with us. Take care and God bless.
Bye-bye.
Bye.